America, in the United States of America, we've taken on a mission that many countries haven't, and that is that we will provide a high-quality education that we believe equalizes. The reality, though, is that kids don't always go to schools where that's going to be the case. Schools that have failed have a tendency to be in neighborhoods where there are more issues with poverty. And quite often, if you are brown, black, and male, you are going to find that that is a part of your experience with public education. You struggle. If you have affluence and you have wealth, you can make a way for your children to get a pretty good education. And the impact of that education is apparent. You have access, you have opportunities, you have choices. Those choices lead to people living happier and healthier lives.
It's devastating. We have children trying to get into highly effective schools who cannot get in because they don't have buildings in which they can be educated in.
It's the randomness of the lottery that could determine their future. We had over 2,300 applications for about 120 spots. So you can see over 2,000 students were on that waiting list.
Last year we had about 30 openings total, and we had over 1,900 students on the wait list.
This school is looking for where we're going to live next. And that is the #1 issue that schools face.
The School Reform Act of 1995 enabled charter schools to begin, and any buildings that became surplus property for the city would be given the right of first offer to a charter school. That part of the law has never been followed.
If we had access to another campus or another building, we would be able to do this for twice as many kids or more, depending on the size of the new building.
We could fill 3 more schools based on the number of students that are on our waiting list. You do that by releasing facilities, because that's the biggest impediment to the opening of high-quality schools. And knowing that there are buildings that are available, that's really a travesty.
I think that everybody in the city should come together and we should start rallying, petitioning for charters or high-performing schools to have access to more buildings, more space, and then educate more students. This is important. This needs to happen.
Innovative motivation. We need more seats for a new generation. Hear my independence, a declaration. I don't want to wait, I need a better education. Take it no more.
Want to be in the neighborhood where the families come from, because the truth is, it's not choice if you can't get to it.
It is our job as a charter sector to do everything in our power to be able to provide our families with opportunities where they can have a high-quality public education.
To make sure that they are able to eventually go to a high-performing high school and go to college.
To be incredible people, incredible humans, really connect with everyone around them, value themselves and others, and be kind.
They will serve the community that they are in a very different way that they would have served that community had they not had that education.
They should have tons of dreams, and they should try various paths, and they should be given the opportunity to do so.
They come back as teachers, as lawyers, as doctors, as community members. This ripple changes communities one family at a time and many families at a time.
We live in a global village, and not just to be consumers, but to be leaders of industry, leaders of business, but far too many don't get that opportunity. For young people who don't have an excellent, challenging education, an education that taps into their talent and their inner light, the lure of the streets may be far stronger than anything that's going on in the classroom. A good education is a life and death choice.
For me, school has been great. I feel like definitely looking around the room and seeing other people that look like you. You know you can express your feelings. You could be calm with all the teachers and staff, and you feel like you're actually making real friends and just feeling at home.
Harley came loaded. Incredibly intelligent young man, conscientious, thoughtful, charming, funny, and he needed a place to just explore that.
A lot of the things you need to do to not only have fun in life, but to have money in life, you need education. You know, to go to college and have a job.
He's one of those kids who's just been here before. We gave him a place to be all the Harley he could be.
Maybe one day I'll have kids and need to tell them this story. I need to learn how to speak. I need to learn how to write down things. I need to learn how to do long division. History class, we learn stereotypes. Black boys can't follow directions, they can't learn, they can't stay on track, they can't focus. Can't for us is not in the dictionary. And basically, Statesman is all the opposite. It basically shows you the amount of resilience the school shows for all the things Black boys can do and to make sure they're learning, getting this stuff through their head so when they get to college, it's like, oh, I already learned this is easy, and knock it right out the park. My name is Harley Mitchell, and I am just a student. Yep.
I think it's very unfortunate that parents, families in the district have to rely on a select few places to provide a quality education for the fit and the dynamics that they're looking for. Ideally, all schools should be the kind of quality we enjoy here at Washington Latin. But the reality is it is not that way. When my son received acceptance through the lottery program, it was an answered prayer. If my child was not accepted, we would have been in a very difficult position.
Families choose charter schools in the District of Columbia because they are a college and career pipeline. And charters have been especially effective in the district's most vulnerable neighborhoods, closing the achievement gap. Despite their track record of success, which has resulted in almost 12,000 wait-listed students, the district government continues to hold on to vacant buildings with over 1 million square feet of surplus property, which should be available to our schools. It is a travesty that they are being withheld.
It's just a slap in the face. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
It's wrong.
It's mind-boggling.
It's a problem. We need these buildings immediately, especially here in Ward 7 and Ward 8.
What are they going to do with Spingarn Senior High? It's just sitting here going to waste with tax people's money, and it needs to be put to use. It needs to put students in it, remodeled, beautified, and redone for the neighborhood and for the children because they're bossed all over the city trying to get into a decent high school.
When you go downtown, you see pristine streets and sidewalks and buildings, everything to attract tourists. Condos going up everywhere because people are attracted to moving into the city and these beautiful neighborhoods where you have these eyesores, these schools that are abandoned with graffiti and broken windows, and they're just sitting there. Wouldn't it be better to have it as a beautiful charter school, decorated with children running and playing, with gardens, with teachers out?
What is the point to have an abandoned building that is not giving you a benefit when you can fill that empty building with the future of this country, with the future of this city, that are the kids? They deserve that. That will be a huge gift from the city to their citizens. My son, he's in first grade, and my daughter, she's in second grade. I wanted them to get into a charter school. We were just hoping and waiting, and we were pretty lucky. And now I have heard many stories about families saying, oh, we have been waiting for 3 years. We have been waiting for 2 years. It's sad because without education, we're nothing.
We got our 12th option. That was not a school that was interesting to us, but we didn't have a choice, so we enrolled our son there. And at that time, I started to think about things like, did I decide that we were living in the wrong place in the city? Do we need to put him in a private school? What are the quality schools that are around, and do we have access to them?
People that I know, people that I'm friends with, people that I hear through the grapevines that are not as lucky, they feel like their chances are so small because there are so few opportunities.
Knowing that there are parents with tears that want their child in a school, but they have to be turned away because there just aren't enough seats, it's incredibly frustrating, and I do not understand it.
We are in a crisis. In the past, administrations have turned over 39 unused, abandoned schools to the charter sector. Yet, with over 1 million square feet of vacant space currently standing empty, this mayor has released 0.
Don't say you're about education, and then when it's an opportunity to do something to support education, you don't.
Charter school system here in the district was developed and created to bring some equity for Black people and brown people. That's not happening.
This school is growing, so we have to leave. It seems so simple, right? The building's empty, you need the school, why aren't you in the school?
When you look at that potential for turning around an entire generation of kids and you're distracted by things like, oh gosh, you gotta close the school this year because you can't find a building that's unconscionable.
If this school's not here, then the young people who are here don't get this opportunity.
Sadly, despite the needs of disadvantaged children, the district government perversely leaves buildings abandoned or prefers private development. Every empty school that is sold to a developer is a sad loss for our children, families, and the community.
We have a 2,500 student wait list this year, and we won't be able to serve them. There are buildings that are public property and schools that would make a great place for DCI, but the city has other plans.
Go to the mayor's chambers. Go to the hearings. Make yourselves available for testimony. This is the time. We must organize. We must mobilize. We must come in large numbers and make it clear that these surplus buildings can be vacant no more.
Open the buildings. Have some compassion, have a heart. We need more schools here in the district.
Reach out to your council member, reach out to the mayor, and anyone else who will listen.
From one mother to another, it's about our kids.
There's always ways to fight.
I cannot send my child to a failing public school just because that's the school in my neighborhood. So when we have vacant buildings that can be occupied by thriving charter schools, yes, that law should be implemented.
Why not give that to a charter school where the city can be sure that they are not gonna just be teaching, but they're gonna be changing lives, molding lives, which will benefit the city more.
I want the adults, the voices, all city officials to go into the community and say, this is important, this is something we need.
Vacant no more. These buildings must be released to charter schools. Charter schools don't have the room, they don't have the seats. But if these doors were open, thousands more students could walk in and have their lives transformed forever.
I don't wanna wait, I need a better education. Take it no more.
Have they heard your voice?
End the list, fight for more. End the list.